In a universe where there's a plethora of romance anime, the great, the okay, and the not so okay. In this video, we'll be talking about those just okay ones. So this video is actually part 2 in the series of random anime that I've watched, that I've seen, that I kind of want to recommend, but not sure if I should. But this time, let's make it romance. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Animel. If you have never been here, I'm Mel, the host of this channel. And if you have never been here before and you end up enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe. So as a continuation of this random, obscure anime that I've seen over time, we're here to talk about ones in relation to romance. And some of them may be not romance specific, but the subplot definitely is romance. And for those of you out there who enjoy the villainess subgenre, I'm the villainess, so I'm taming. The final boss is definitely one of those ones. While there is a wide variety of villainess stories and the subplot is almost always romantic, this one kind of stands out to me a little bit just because I didn't expect myself to love it so much. Because there's the one that everyone kind of knows where it's like, I'm doomed to be a villainess, so, you explore all the routes. Well, I think this may have been like the second villainess one that I've seen, and then went to go see a bunch of others after it. And this girl just straight up was like, okay, I'm the villainess of the story. I know that I have a lot of obstacles and I'm gonna hit a lot of trials and tribulations. So let me just go to the person who is essentially going to end me at the end of this story, at the end of this plot, and just try to be friends with them. That way I can, get him to be my bestie and protect me from all other potential bad scenarios I can come across. And for that, props to homegirl, because she skipped levels versus other villainesses try to go through all of the different trials and tribulations and figure that out, instead of just skipping right to the end and being like, yo, how can I escape all of it and just best case scenario it for me? And she did just that in this anime. And now I say that it's not easy to recommend because I feel like not everyone loves the villainess subgenre. Also, I feel like there's so many out there, just like there's so many different isekai, that it could be like a hit or a miss for some people. But I like the way that she approaches things, the main character. She seems really sharp, very witty, and kind of just knows her. And there's nothing greater than a badass, a female badass at that. But also, I think Claude, which is the final boss that she ends up taming, but essentially ends up kind of liking her. It's kind of odd. Yeah, I feel like those stories usually have that kind of thing going for it. So that's a pro to the plot, right? But again, something that will push people away from this is you'll see the standard tropes that you'll find in a villainess story, where the heroine is usually the antagonist, like many of the other villainess stories, that the villainess is not really a villain at all, and it's just all the circumstances that she ends up in, and all the characters that are supposed to dislike her end up liking her. So it does follow that formula, but there was just something about this particular one that really drew my attention, and it's probably the character herself plus Claude. Again, he's hot. I really enjoy a bite-sized anime that's only a couple of minutes long versus the standard 23, 24 minutes. Love is Like a Cocktail is definitely one of those. And as you can kind of tell, this anime is kind of about cocktails. What I enjoy most about this story is that while it being a romance, it's actually between a husband and wife, and not the budding of a new romance. So you're kind of seeing a romance that's existed for many years and kind of how that love and that romance continues to keep going throughout time. So our main character is this hardworking office woman that is very cool, calm, and collected, very good at what she does, and just nicely buttoned up as a person. But when she comes home from a long day at work, her husband, who's also a part-time bartender, always makes her a nice cocktail. And when he hands her that cocktail, she completely unwinds and is just a completely different personality than her regular day-to-day self. So it's actually really charming to see how her husband helps her kind of unwind from long days at work and kind of expresses that kind of love by, I don't know, taking care of her, giving her that drink and just saying, honey, relax, unwind. I got things from here at home. And she's kind of just able to unravel and be herself in ways. And he kind of just affectionately dots on her, which is so cute to see. Again, these episodes are very bite-sized, so you could kind of probably watch this in a day. But there is no plot going on, there's no thrilling romance, no mystery, no will they, won't they. It's just a very solid relationship, marriage, and how these two come together every evening to spend time together. Also, a fun point of it is that you get to learn about all these different cocktails if you are interested in that kind of thing. So a little bonus there. So if you're the type of person that likes to watch an anime like that, something that you could sit down to and it could just help you unwind and just have like a chill, relaxing moment, then you might be interested in Love is Like a Cocktail. All right, this one is definitely a little bit peculiar in some ways that I found most enjoyable as someone who enjoys maths and sciences a lot. So I actually don't know how many people will enjoy Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it. Yeah, so the title kind of indicates that they're trying to prove love. It's about a group of scientists in grad school, and two of them seem to be feeling something for each other. And they kind of indicate that in the very first episode, like, I think I like you, I might want to explore something romantic with you, should we date? I don't know. And it gets to a point where they're like, but is this really love that we're feeling? How do we know it's not something else? How do we know it's not just lust? How do we know it's not just infatuation? Well, we're scientists. We could get to the bottom of this through a series of experiments. Yeah, so it is essentially how it sounds. Each and every episode is the progression of these two characters trying to figure out whether they like each other or not through a series of all these different experiments. And if you're someone who was heavily into the science or the mathematics while you were in school, then you may come to understand a lot of these different theories and hypotheses that they sometimes try to run, or at least the approach of testing hypotheses. Because true to the nature of scientists, everything has a methodology and everything has a process in order for you to understand what you're even testing for. And all of these tests basically have to be accumulated into one report so that you can create a proper conclusion. Believe it or not, this anime actually has 2 seasons. And you'll find all of these wacky different scenarios where they're basically experimenting what happens to a person when you do the whole wall slam. You know what I'm talking about, right? And they're gauging like heart levels, like heat temperature on the skin. It's insane, but you want to know something? It makes sense though, to an extent. But unfortunately, as they come to find out that science can't prove these things all the time, you can find indicators, you could find perhaps metrics that help get you to that conclusion, but emotions are kind of fickle and sometimes don't make sense. So we see these scientists often struggle with, well, we're scientists, we must prove this, but wait, this makes no sense. Why doesn't it make any sense? Should I just go based off feeling? So at times you might find yourself a little bit frustrated because you'll just be like, get together already, like any other romance. But this time it's a bunch of scientists who are being extremely stubborn when it's clear as day they have feelings for each other. And they kind of like low-key acknowledge it. This next one may actually be a little bit well-known and not as obscure, but it definitely is kind of random in terms of romances, just based on the plots. Because there's some mystical element or supernatural element to it, even though it's in an office setting. The ice guy and his cool female colleague is one that I surprisingly enjoyed for someone who doesn't enjoy an extreme slow burn anime, especially in regards to romance. So as the title indicates, the male main character has ice abilities, and his colleague, who he works with in an office setting, doesn't have any supernatural abilities. She's just a regular girl. But the interesting thing about the title is that even though the male MC is icy physically, he's actually a very passionate individual in comparison to the female MC, who is literally like super chill. Like her mood is always set to like 1 and it's constant. But as they get to learn about each other and we get to learn about them through their bonding and their experiences, their first impressions are definitely not who they are at their core. So I like this story because it's kind of about like not judging a book by their cover, and that people are multiple layers even if they don't appear to be. And this is more so in regards to the female MC, the female colleague who is very mellow, very chill, always set to a 1, and her face always seems the same. But as both characters come together, the male MC kind of starts to figure out what her face means at times, and you could kind of see him understanding when she's feeling excitement, when she's feeling other emotions, and she's not just always in a chill mode. Also, it's fun to see how the male character is basically like her complete opposite, because he has these ice abilities, and with them, whenever he feels a particular emotion and it's kind of strong, it outwardly shows. It outwardly shows through his abilities. So again, I just love seeing how they grow close together. It's an opposite attract sort of story. It's extreme slow burn to an extent, but the relationship's really cute. Bonus, it's adult love. Actually, the previous anime, Science Fell in Love So I Tried to Prove It, is also adult love. I mean, the one before that is also adult love. Like, I think almost all of these is all adult love, which we don't get often sometimes in romance anime. Like, the ones that are most well promoted are the high school ones, and some of them are great, don't get me wrong, but I'm a little bit tired and fatigued by them. Anyway, this was another one that I enjoyed. Thought it was a little bit interesting and peculiar, the setup of it. But at the end of the day, like after watching it, I came away with it being like, wow, that was actually a really pleasant watch. Was it amazing? No. What? I feel good after watching it. I don't feel tired. I don't feel burnt out. I kind of feel like my cup is full again. Do you have any romance anime that you watched that were kind of just like, okay, but you enjoyed it? Or any odd ones that are just not as widely talked about? Comment with them in the section below. And if you ended up enjoying this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, or share with a friend. However, that's gonna do it for me. I'm Mel, the host of Anime Mel, and I will catch you all on the next one. Bye!